So a lot of you guys out there know that I am an absolute video game capture card slut. I love video game capture cards. It's an actual problem. I love testing them out. I love seeing how they will suit my needs. And basically, I have tried every single brand underneath the sun, from Elgato to AverMedia to MyComSoft to Blackmagic, and I love testing them. But probably the biggest thing in the video game capture card arms race is which company would come out with the first usable 4K capture card that will actually perform well. So I've actually been testing the Elgato 4K60 Pro for about a month now. I just released a couple of days ago. And in today's video, I am gonna give you guys my thoughts and opinions of what it's all about. Its nuances, how to use it properly, and things that I think could be improved. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So the first thing I need to mention is, since I have been testing this capture card 1 month before its actual release to the public, it's obvious that I didn't pay for it. So what happened was I received my Xbox One X early and I knew I wanted to do a review for it, which I am still gonna do. My Xbox One X review is still coming. I reached out to people at Elgato and said, I know you guys have announced your 4K capture card. I need something to capture 4K footage to properly do an Xbox One X review. Could you possibly send in a review unit so I can review the Xbox One X and I'll review your 4K capture card as well? And they said, yeah, that sounds great. So they sent it to me for free. They're not sponsoring this video. I'm not paid for this video. All my opinions are legitimate and not influenced by the almighty dollar. So just some YouTube transparency for you right now. So in terms of the design, they've taken a couple of steps in the positive direction over its predecessor, the HD60 Pro, which it strikes a very strong similarity. But when you kind of put them side by side, you'll see that the new 4K capture card is actually almost double the size of the original HD60 Pro. And they've added a couple of new things as well, which I do really appreciate. The lighting of the Elgato on the side of the capture card while it's in your PC is something really cool. It's nice to look at when it's in your computer and up and running. And probably the biggest thing that I do appreciate is now they have attached a backplate to the top of the capture card. It was probably my biggest complaint of the HD60 Pro. It's the same thing I have with graphics cards. When you have like chips and transistors exposed on a very expensive piece of electronic equipment, it just really bugs me. So the fact that they have included a backplate now is something that I really do appreciate and I like a lot. All right, let's move on to pricing and system requirements. So pricing on the internet is always a crapshoot to talk about. It's always often leads to very heated debates about things. That's because pricing, the amount of money that you're willing to spend, is all subjective. One person may find value in something, another person may not find any value in it at all. And at $400, it is definitely not the cheapest capture card on the market today. It is double the price of the HD60 Pro. But you have to keep in mind, the reason why you're buying this capture card is that you want to capture and upload in native 4K. You want to play in 4K as well, which is the main reason why you're probably going to be buying a PlayStation 4 Pro or the more recently released Xbox One X, because you want to play in 4K. From a content creative perspective, which is the only perspective that I can offer you guys, because this is what I do for a living. This is my career. I record Let's Plays for you guys. I post them on YouTube. You guys watch them. And I really want to present the best gameplay possible for you guys from a viewing perspective. And 4K at $400 is honestly a fantastic deal. It is the most affordable 4K capture card on the market today. And I've tested a couple of them. I'm in the process of reviewing another one right here. This is the Atomos Ninja Inferno, once again provided to me for review by the nice people at Atomos. This is a fantastic device. It does everything it says it does. It has a beautiful screen. It doesn't require any CPU usage because all the encoding is done on the actual device itself. It supports 10-bit HDR 4K 60 FPS footage. But at the same time, it costs $1,000, which isn't, once again, in comparison to the professional uses of actual professional recording via 4K DSLR or camcorders, it's actually not that bad of an investment if that's what you do for a living. But $1,000 for this device, plus on top of the storage media that you have to buy, the extra SSDs that you'll need to store all your video, it's quite an investment to do. So at $400, the 4K60 Pro honestly is not a bad deal at all. Even the basic system requirements to even use this card require basically the most up-to-date and modern hardware on the market today in terms of a rig. You need at least a Skylake CPU from Intel, or in comparison an AMD Ryzen 7 from AMD, and you need a dedicated graphics card from NVIDIA in the 1000 series or the Vega series from AMD, which is, once again, that's not average consumer hardware. That is modern day hardware in order to even use this card. It does not support Mac OS X, so you cannot use it if you're a Mac user. And obviously, as a PCI dedicated graphics card, you cannot use it externally for your laptop. Just on the note of PCI lanes, you will need a full lane PCI in your PC rig, unlike in the previous generation where you could use just basically PCI Express 4 lane with the HD60 Pro. You do need a full lane on your motherboard to insert this correctly into your PC. So while we're still on the topic of pricing, I really want to quickly talk about this. So I hate the term future-proof when you talk about technology, because you should always just buy what you need now and never spend a penny more in most cases. But in this specific case, I think you can make an exception. You'll just have to hear me out right now. So if you're a person who doesn't have any sort of capture card right now, like you have no capture cards, or maybe your recent capture card just broke for whatever reason and you're in the market for a brand new one. So what this device does, it allows you to capture from 720p 30 FPS all the way to 4K 60 FPS and everything in between. So if you're a person right now, you're saying to yourself, I only want to record 1080p 60 FPS, which is pretty much the standard on YouTube right now, but I could possibly want to have that option of 4K in the future. Maybe I just want to record one small clip of 4K in the future for like a montage or something. And then this is something you might want to think about and keep in the back of your head. So you spend the extra $200 on top in comparison to an HD60 Pro to have the option of 4K available for you in the future. Just while we're still on the topic of functionality, so another cool feature of the 4K60 Pro is that you can use it as a pass-through for high refresh rate monitors. This is for people who have monitors that run at 120 to 144 hertz, and you want to capture via directly a capture card rather than an on-PC recording software such as like Shadowplay or XSplit or OBS. If you want to record specifically via a capture card, you can now use it as a pass-through, so you'll still be able to take advantage of the high refresh rate 120 or 144 hertz of your monitor. It still only captures at 60 FPS, so you don't capture anything higher than 60 FPS, but you'll still be able to play at a higher refresh rate. So I know that is important to a lot of people, especially if you're a big person into first-person shooters, to still be able to play at those high refresh rates. So yeah, that's another cool functionality that personally I won't use, but I think that is still be important to some people out there that I needed to mention. All right, so now that we're done all the boring stuff, the technicals, the unboxing, let's get into the actual review, the white meat of the video, and probably why you're watching this. And we're basically gonna answer, does the 4K60 Pro at $400 does and perform the way it's supposed to? Record 4K gameplay footage flawlessly, as the company claims. And the short answer is yes. Kinda. Alright, so at this point, you're probably yelling at the screen and saying, what the hell do you mean kinda? Kinda is not an answer. Kinda is not a review. And yes, I would agree with you. Kinda is a little bit of a cop-out. But you're just gonna have to hear me out here for a second. So I've been using this device for about a month now, and I've had a very hot and cold relationship with it. I've at some points loved it, at some points I've hated it. To give you guys a first-hand example, if you guys have been watching my LA Noir series on YouTube, you notice that sometimes the footage is great, it looks awesome, but sometimes you notice that audio will just drop out for a second, or the video will flicker for a second. And I have basically done all the troubleshooting, and all the problem comes down to is the 4K capture utility that is provided by Elgato. At this point right now, I cannot recommend that you use the software because I personally feel that it's incomplete at this time, especially when you compare it to its predecessor, the Game Capture Utility 3.0. It's first off missing a lot of core features that people loved about that software. First off, Not being able to see audio levels absolutely bugs me, because recording footage of video is awesome, but video is only half the equation when you talk about gameplay. Audio is very important, and I always like to see audio levels, because if audio stops working, and I can't tell if it stops recording because I'm listening to the actual console itself, and losing audio is basically as bad as losing video, in my personal opinion. And as well, it's lost the ability, a core ability that a lot of people love. The flashback recording is no longer available. So for me personally, as a person who records gameplay footage as a Let's Play, it's not a huge deal. But if you're a person who does, let's just say you make montages or you record Call of Duty footage and you just need to record the good footage, you can flashback record to what you need to capture, and that's an awesome way to save on storage space. Flashback recording is no longer in the 4K utility, which has been the staple of the game capture utility in the past. All right, so for the last couple of minutes, I think I've done a decent job of stressing why I think the 4K capture utility on the software side is not a reliable way when combined with the 4K60 Pro to capture 4K footage for YouTube reliably. But there is a workaround, and that workaround is simply to use OBS. So OBS is pretty much the best recording software out there on the market today, and it is absolutely free. Every major streamer that you know and love uses OBS. It's just the fact. It's an amazing program. It's very robust. It has lots of options and adjustments that you can make. And more importantly, it works flawlessly with the 4K60 Pro if you use the recommended settings by Elgato. I think Elgato knows internally that their software is not nearly as robust or reliable as OBS, which is why they have provided very specific recommendations of how it should work and what settings you should use and to pair it with the 4K60 Pro. And once I finally decided to ditch and give up on the 4K capture utility, I have had no problems since using OBS in conjunction with the 4K60 Pro. It honestly brought a slight tear to my eye to know that I can finally record 4K native footage reliably. And the key word there is reliable, having the ability to know that if I record this footage, I'm not gonna have any issues with video or audio. It's a long time coming, but it's finally here. Not so much on the dedicated side of the software provided by Elgato. Once again, I personally would not use it for a couple months until they have finally ironed out all the kinks. But on the hardware end itself, the hardware end of the 4K60 Pro device is perfectly sound. If you pair it with an awesome recording software such as OBS, the device works absolutely flawlessly, and yeah, it just works great and it's awesome. So for now, if you're buying this device, use it with OBS. Don't use it with the 4K capture utility, and just wait a couple months before Elgato to kind of iron out all the kinks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for my unboxing and review of the Elgato 4K60 Pro. Hopefully, I was able to provide some valuable insight to all you prospective video game content creators out there. And after I review a product from a specific company, I find that the nicest thing I can say and recommend is if I am willing to spend my hard-earned money and buy it myself. So even though this specific 4K60 Pro was not purchased by myself, I'm gonna go buy another one because I have another PC that renders videos and records gameplay footage for you guys. And yeah, to give you an idea, I'm gonna go buy another one even though I already have one already. Yeah, just to give you guys the background information. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. As always, if you enjoyed, give the video a quick thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. As always, have a nice day.